why nostalgia is bullshit. If you have been on the internet in the past few years, you will have seen a flock of people missing the old days, missing a time where life has been so simple, where you didn't have a care in the world. Well, I'm here to crush your dreams and tell you it's all bullshit. The thing you love so much called nostalgia, I'm here to destroy it. It's bullshit, alright? Nostalgia is bullshit. You've probably seen that everyone and their grandmother being using nostalgic content to sell their product, whether it be in movies, fashion, YouTube, music, sports, video games, all sorts of things. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kinda getting sick of it. I feel like it's getting shoved up our throats, which nobody likes, let's be honest. All these nostalgia baits, as I like to call them, is so clear to make money, because the fans of the media will go and see it and talk about it, because they're fans, but like 90% of the time, it's not even good. And to the people who only reminisce over the past and think about all the good times you had, holy shit, just stop. This mindset is only gonna make you sad or depressed, because instead of trying to make new memories, you're only gonna think about what already happened. And in 5 years, you're gonna think, oh wow man, 2024 was such a good year. I wish I could go back to a simpler time. And then the cycle just continues. So just appreciate what you have now, okay? I'm gonna split this video into 3 parts. Why nostalgia is low-key depressing, why it's bad for the environment, and that you shouldn't be falling for these clear nostalgia baits that Hollywood or whatever studio is making, so whatever you'll be watching or doing, just because they don't care about the product, they just want your attention or for you to talk about it on social media, most likely Twitter, so they just get your money. .mp4. Have you noticed that all the people reminiscing about the past are like the saddest people ever? Studies show that people with nostalgic depression can be accompanied by sadness, despair, or regret, feelings of loneliness, loss, or suicidal isolation, loss of interest in activity you usually enjoy, feelings of pessimism or hopelessness. Always thinking about your past will only make you sad, because you're not allowing yourself to move on from it, and you're constantly thinking that your best years, your best time in life has already passed. So tell me, you're 21, 22, 23, and you think you had your best year in like 2019, 2020, 2021. Bro, you barely lived a third of your life. As people, we need to evolve, we need to keep coming up with new concepts, and if not, it's gonna get depressing. I want to show you more about this, so I'll talk about one of my favorite animes of all time. The story of Cowboy Bebop follows the adventures of our 2 main protagonists, Spike Spiegel and Jet Black, and later coming into the story, Faye and Edward. With all these characters coming from all sorts of life and being very different, they all share one thing in common. They all can't let go of the past. Okay guys, if you don't want spoilers, I highly recommend watching it, if you haven't. And also being able to quote a show that turned 25 years old is crazy. That just shows how this show is great. It stood the test of time and is still being talked about. Can't recommend it enough. Okay, you have been warned. Because every single person on the ship can't let go of the past, so they become bitter, angry, only interested about themselves, and only think about what they can gain in every bounty hunt, especially Faye. And speaking of her, she legit left the ship multiple times, lied to the guys about where she's going, just to find the truth about where she comes from. Just to see it's all gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Except for Grandma, who was her old classmate, or friend, I don't know, who she barely remembers. That's it. She basically ruined the only friendship she had, because she lost her past self being frozen from that accident she had. Ruining it all for basically nothing. And Spike's story is even sadder. Even though Spike carried the show with his aura that legit needs to be studied, Spike said to let go of the past, but he's a hypocrite, because he's the most consumed of his past out of anyone of the ship. He can't let go of Julia because she was the only thing he wanted to live for. And after she got killed by Vincent's men, Spike went crazy at the end, killing Vincent but not losing his own life too. This obsession with the past is what frustrates me when I see people talking about how they miss it, because at the end of the day, your search for looking at the past is gonna end up in 2 directions. Either eternal sadness or emptiness. Or both, man, I don't know. The past is gone, man. You can't go back. Okay, I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Change as a concept is good. As people, we need to evolve, you know, and do things differently, because being stuck in one specific time frame is gonna make people insane. Perfect example. Recently, a trend has become popular for the western side of the world that have glamorized the idea of Eastern European buildings, structure, and architecture, and how great it must be to live in such places. And let me just tell you, as a person who lives in these sort of buildings, it's not great. Alright, it's fucking sad. Like being in 2024 but living in a building that's older than your parents isn't cool. The architecture made only because of the wars and then left like that, never to be seen, repaired, or even maintained. Nothing, bro. Guys, it's not an aesthetic, it's fucking depressing. Trust me, it's sad. And this doesn't apply to just buildings. It's in music too, which I wanna say. This obsession of when artists makes a creative change in their sound, there's a flock of people already commenting, "Man, I miss the old Kanye, 2015 Uzi, where he at? Old Arctic Monkeys were so much better." Despite the fact that the last comments was true, it's also sad to look at. Most fans of anything don't know what they want. They just know what they had. That feeling they used to have when they first heard new music. And you can give them that feeling again with something new and not going back. I think Tyler the Creator explained it best, because he did what I'm saying and now he's bigger than ever. Jamie, pull up the clip.
And Funk Flex asked him how his relationship is with Eminem after Eminem dissed him on his last album.
And he doesn't like that. I don't like his new stuff. And he dissed me on his last album. And I remember hearing it.
Why did he?
Because I keep being vocal about shit that I don't like. Fuck it. He put out this album called Relapse that I like. Weird, blah, blah, blah. But it was him. It was like, this is the aesthetic and what I want to go with. And he went 100% with what he liked on there. People trashed it. And I don't know. This is just from
and he came back afterwards with the
with the recovery.
He gave her what everyone wanted
with the pop hooks, and this is gonna sell.
Yeah, I remember.
So the shit worked.
And that album was dope.
Everyone gave high fives. Everyone's yeah, fuck Jimmy. So the fans that didn't really like it, you gotta do fucking. I want the old M. I want the Marshall Mathers LPM. I want the old M. This nigga, I don't know, but it feels like he read that and was like, damn, you know what? Fuck, let me go back and try to rehash a moment. And when people go back, that is the grossest fucking thing. Move forward. Get what you're into for real.
I don't want you to be like, fuck, it's gonna be right.
I'm gonna go back to the old shit because that's what they want. Fuck what they want. Give them what you want.
And now the final point, aka whatever this is. Am I the only one that is fucking sick of people making reboots and remakes of already popular existing IPs just to make a quick buck? From all the Marvel spin-offs to anime live actions to video games. And I never watched or played many of these things because to me, these are obvious cash grabs and a clear nostalgic place. Just for you to be like, oh, I recognize this, I should watch it or play it. And sometimes it works, you know, you go with your buddies to the cinema to see what Marvel has been cooking up in the oven. And sometimes it's cool when they twist it in a different way. But most of the time, these movies and shows are so clearly just for the money. They don't care about the product, they don't care about the fans, they just saw a hole in the market and they just saw dollar signs. Because it's less risk for solid reward. Well, most of the time. And I'm not saying you should make something completely out of the left field, like something even God can think of. All I'm saying is what Virgil Abloh has said. You don't need a lot to make something unique. You can just change or add to something that already exists. Just twist it by at least 3%. That's it. 3%. And I think no other show has done this perfectly than Invincible and the Spider-Verse soon-to-be trilogy. Let's be real, we have a bajillion superheroes. Like some of these heroes you think they just shout out their ass with these names, but that's beside the point. What makes these shows special with Invincible, as an example, it shows a lot more reality of being a superhero. The way you can't actually save everyone. It's a lot more bloody, violent, and that people aren't actually that dumb when they're trying to guess your identity. It broke a lot of walls that superhero movies had, and that's why it stood out for a lot of people as something great. Can't wait for the next season in, 2029. And the Spider-Verse trilogy. Okay, let me break it down for you real quick. It took another version of an already beloved character that wasn't loved in the comics by a lot of people. And instead of making a live action movie, they made it animated. Plus the animation looked nothing like anything anyone has ever saw. With a story so weird that was only explored in the video games 7 years prior. And with all that together, what do you get? The greatest Spider-Man movie. And if they don't fuck up the third one, the greatest Spider-Man trilogy. I will debate anyone in the comments. I want all the smoke. None of you want it. Cause you know I'm fucking right with this shit, right? This shit is fucking goated, bro. Don't play with me. In conclusion, nostalgia is bullshit. Don't fall for these traps that people are doing. As people, we need to evolve and look for the future. Looking at the past will only make you depressed. Anything you think that was cool back in the day probably wasn't cool back then. Live action anime sucks, except this one is passable. Studios most of the time don't care about making something people will like, they just care about how many people will see it so they can get paid more, which is sad. It isn't hard to make something original, and this is the greatest Spider-Man movie ever. Anyways, I'm done.